Hi everyone. So we are in Texas now, in Houston, Texas, and we had a long day of travel yesterday. And today we got up and I felt really good. Everything was cool. We went and had a smoothie at Jamba Juice. I think it's called Jamba Juice. Just down the road. We're like staying in the Galleria area. It's really nice here, like really luxurious place. Yeah, so that was all cool. And then we went to go and explore, and for some reason I just started to feel like everything was really big. I was like, whoa, everything's so big and spacious, and I started to feel a little bit like emotional, and I was like, oh, I really feel like crying. And I sort of said to Rory, like, oh, I feel like crying, it's really weird. And then as we were walking, I was getting hotter and hotter and more out of breath. I was like, oh, I'm starting to feel really ill. I need to sit down. I need the shade. So we'd been walking in the sun for about 15 minutes. And so we went, I was like overheating, or it felt like I was overheating. So we went and sat in the shade for a bit, but it wasn't letting up. It wasn't going away. It was just getting worse. I started to feel very, very nauseous. So we went into this supermarket. I can't remember what it's called. The Marketplace, I think it's called. And that's where we were heading anyway, to go and get some food to bring back to our apartment. So we went into this supermarket, and I kept going to the toilet because I thought I was going to be sick, and then I wasn't being sick. I don't know what it was, but I started to feel very, very dizzy. Like, when it's like your body is trying to make you sick, so it makes you dizzy. I don't know if you've ever had that, like if you've had the flu or something. Sometimes when your body's trying to, or like food poisoning, when your body's trying to get stuff out of you, it will make you feel really dizzy, so that you'll then be you'll feel nauseous and then be sick. So it was like my body was doing that, and I started to feel really dizzy, like I was going to faint as well. And like I just couldn't get comfortable inside, so we went and sat on a table outside. It was like too cold inside and too hot outside, but we found a table in the shade outside, and I basically like started to have a panic attack, and I couldn't breathe. Like my chest was closing up, everything was like tunnel vision, like everything was, I was so dizzy and just sweating. And then I just started crying and sobbing, and it was embarrassing to say the least, but it had to come out. This just had to come out. It was like this wave of emotion just had to come out of me, so I was just sobbing. And Rory, bless him, was trying to get an Uber, but the internet wasn't working on his phone, and I don't have the Uber app on my phone, and well, the internet wasn't working basically. And so Rory was asking people who were just like coming out of the supermarket, oh, would you mind helping me a moment? My girlfriend's having a panic attack, and we're just trying to book a taxi, but we don't know the number for a taxi. Can you help? Nobody helped. Everyone was just like, no, and just walked straight past. Nobody helped. Not one person stopped to actually like see what was going on, or to listen to him. And they were just like, no. All he was doing was asking for the number for a taxi service, and everybody said no. I just suddenly saw red, and I just got livid, and I just got up, and I was like, is everyone just stuck up their own fucking ass around here or something? And I just ran into the supermarket and asked these women that were standing at, I don't know where it was, like some checkout place. Everyone was sort of standing around, and I just burst into tears again. I was like, please, can I just order a taxi? I just need to get back to our apartment. We don't know the taxi number. And they were like, yeah, of course. They were so helpful. So then we come back here, and then I was almost sick again. And now I'm in bed. So, and what happened was, so I'm just going to be really, really honest. I'm working through a layer of lack mentality because I've been up leveling. And this happens no matter what stage you're at. Even if you're making money, it's like upper level, it's like when you're going upper level, this can happen, where you unearth another layer of the same BS that you thought you'd got through before. And this time, for me, it's been in the form of cockroaches. And it's like, the other week we were in this awful apartment and I was working on stuff to do with boundaries, and so there was a cockroach. When we got there was a cockroach in the kitchen, and I was just like, no, this isn't where we're meant to be, this isn't where I'm meant to be at, this isn't right. And that place was just disgusting. Okay, so we changed apartments, we changed complete buildings and moved to a different apartment, and we actually did get our money back from Airbnb, which was amazing because we didn't think we would initially. They were refusing us a refund, but literally, I think I mentioned before, like, nothing in that place worked. Everything was flooded when we got there. It was so damp, the bed was like wet. It was really bad for my health, and it was this awful dingy dive, like traveler's worst nightmare situation. So we set our boundaries, we moved to this new apartment, and it was just crazy because we weren't allowed to use the beach because of the storm. There'd been this huge storm, the tail end of that hurricane, and the beach, it was just a mess. But we were like, okay, well, at least we have a pool that actually works now, because the apartment before it didn't. We got there and the pool was empty and we couldn't use the beach, the Wi-Fi didn't work. Oh, it was awful. So this new place was really, really nice room right on the beach. Like, even though we couldn't use the beach, like, that, it's nice to be by the ocean, and the pool overlooked the ocean. This beautiful blue, crystal clear swimming pool by the ocean, and we had 2 days in that pool, and then on the third day there, the pool went green and they didn't do anything about it. Okay, so Rory just walked in then, and it's actually now a couple of days later, and I realised I didn't actually finish that vlog, and I wanted to share with you the rest of it. So I was just letting you know that basically lots and lots of layers of lack programming, lack mentality from my subconscious was showing up in my reality. And first of all, we had this awful apartment, so we set our boundaries. We got this new really nice apartment, and it had this gorgeous swimming pool, and it was right on the beach, but the beach wasn't very nice, and the storm had like dredged loads of rubbish and stuff up, but it had this really amazing pool. But then 2 days into it, this pool went green and they didn't do anything about it, and we were told we're not allowed to use the swimming pool, and that was like the saving grace of the whole thing. And then we got to Houston, Texas, and the first apartment that we were given had this awful smell, and there was a cockroach. And basically the other apartment, there was the first apartment we went to in it's called Juan Julio or something like that, that had a cockroach in as well. And it was like this, like, cockroaches were like the symbol of lack for me, or this layer of lack that was showing up. Not that that's my real truth or like whatever, this was just obviously reflecting for a reason. And yeah, so we got given this apartment here in Texas, that in Houston, that had this cockroach in, this really awful smell, and then the Wi-Fi didn't reach that apartment because it was right on the end of this block, and it was just like, oh, not again, why is this still here? It's like we haven't sorted it yet, we haven't shifted it yet, so it's still showing up. And so we set our boundaries straight away. We like said to the guy, look, it's 100% we need to have Wi-Fi, 100%, like, that's, you know, if they advertise it with Wi-Fi, we're having Wi-Fi, and I need that obviously because I have an online business. And yeah, so we set our boundaries straight away, and we got given, like, he actually asked somebody to leave this apartment that he's given us, like, to swap, so we've got a really nice apartment now. And like the next day we went for so the next day, that's when we went for this walk. We went to have explore and look around and go to the supermarket, and that's when I had this panic attack. And I really felt like it's because we'd shifted something, because when we went for this walk, we realized that we are actually in an area, a very wealthy area of Houston. It's like near the Galleria, and it's just, we're surrounded by huge mansions and sports cars and designer shops. And obviously now this was reflecting, we realized, okay, we're shifting it, because now we're seeing all this abundance, we're seeing all this wealth, and the stuff we want to be seeing in our reality. And but basically I had this panic attack, and when I was sat outside the supermarket, I put my head down on the table and I looked down. I was looking down at the floor and I was just focusing on my breathing. And no joke, this cockroach just came strolling up and sat, just stood there underneath me, directly in my line of vision. And I just heard the guidance, this represents your lack, your layer of lack. And it was clear as day. And when I heard that message come through, that's when this huge wave of emotion came over me, and I just started sobbing. That's when I started sobbing. And it was because I wasn't sick, it was had to come out. This layer of lack had to come out of me. And so it came out via my tears, and I was just sobbing and sobbing. And then nobody would help us, and blah blah blah. And then I just got up and just went into got up mid panic attack and just sorted out a taxi. And yeah, again, it's setting my boundaries and just, I don't know, that's what happened, and that is what it was about. That is what that panic attack was about. And even though, yeah, it maybe it was because I was overwhelmed, because we'd come from a beach kind of place, chilling out in the Dominican, to coming to this big city, and it's really big and spacious and whatever. But I think, and I'm inclined to believe, that I was purging, in a way, a layer of this lack programming that we've all endured, lack mentality. And even when no matter what level that you're at, you still go through these moments of lack. Basically, it still shows up, and it's something you have to really continuously be committed to working on, because we've all been so deeply programmed in lack and scarcity. And we all have such limiting beliefs in our subconscious, and sometimes it shows up. And it was interesting, because it was the cockroach was definitely a symbol of that for me. And I feel we've really shifted it now. And yeah, so it's now actually a few days later from when I started filming this, and we've just been to there's a museum here, history of natural science museum or something, and we've just been there today. We've been to a couple of parks, and yeah, we've just had a day together, just enjoying our time here. I've been working quite hard on my business and my mindset, and shifting the things that have been coming up and shining a light on things. And I'll probably share with you some of the other stuff in another vlog, because I think this is long enough. So that's what's been going on. So I'll be uploading some more videos soon. Okay, bye.